A new month, a new opportunity. My friend, it is April, and we've got lots to talk about. What is happening in sidereal astrology this month, April 2025? My friend, I've got everything about our sun changing signs, Mercury coming out of retrograde, Venus coming out of retrograde. We've had such shifts in the past month, and now it's like we're starting to move forward with things. So let's dive in. All right, my friend, welcome back to the Cosmic Mystic, where we blend strategy and soul work to help you build a soul aligned life and business that fully supports your soul's mission. If we have not met yet, my name is Danny Simonese, your inner work alchemist, cosmic mystic, creator of the Sacred CEO framework designed to help you stay grounded, aligned, and abundant as you expand your impact. I have supported hundreds of conscious leaders in doing the deep soul work that is required to embody their highest expression so that they can lead with confidence and authenticity. Each video here is your guide to working with the energetic currents within you and around you. My friend, let's align with your sacred rhythm. You know, my favorite thing to do, my friend, is to look at the state of the planet. So here we go. If you did not know, we do have the monthly forecast that comes out every single month, usually at the very beginning of the month. And then we have our weekly forecast that come out every Monday, and it's just for that week. So here in our overview, we're going to get all the things that are happening. And then week by week, we're going to share with you what is happening that week. So you know, oh yeah, that was that thing that she talked about. Yeah, that's happening this week. Also, if you did not know, we have a podcast, or if you're on the podcast, you're like, wait, what? There's something else? Yes, there is a YouTube channel. So there is the YouTube channel called The Cosmic Mystic, and the podcast that is the Cosmic Mystic Podcast. You can find these forecasts, the monthly and the weekly, on both of the platforms. And if you head on over to the podcast, you're going to not only get to listen to me in your ears, you are also going to get more content on there. You'll get some teachings from me. You're going to get some coaching from me. You will also be hearing interviews about people who are on their journey, who have stepped into their soul's mission and how they got there, their navigation of that. So if you love to hear people's journeys and stories like I do, then you're definitely going to want to check out the podcast. Now, over on the YouTube channel, I've had the channel for a long time. So you're going to find hypnosises, you're going to find meditations, you're going to find teachings on here, as well as our Magic Monday, which talks all about a message from the divine, from the guardians of the Akashic record every single week, and a daily somatic breath work. We do that every single a week so that we are clear and aligned and grounded and really calling in what is best for us in the new week. Okay, I've said all the things. It is time to dive in. All right, so as I share my screen here on the YouTube channel, you can see our chart as we click on over for April 1st, you're going to see where everybody's at. All right, so as you can see here, we've got, let me come to the top here, we've got our Chiron in 28 degrees Pisces. We've got the sun in 17 degrees Pisces. We've got Neptune, 5 degrees Pisces, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, our North Node in Pisces, our Venus in Pisces, and Saturn has now moved into Pisces. My friends, we've got a lot of energy here in Pisces. This is that alignment that we've been talking about for a couple of months now. It is in full alignment. All the planets are in there that are going to be part of this alignment now that Saturn has moved in over the past few days of March. And as a reminder, Saturn's going to be there for almost 3 years. So we've got quite quite a few years here, quite some time with Saturn and Pisces. And remember, this alignment is all about endings. We are in the year of the nine. You've heard me say this. I'm going to repeat it again because I want you to remember, as things seem as if they're crumbling down, they are actually opening up a pathway for you, my friend. Trust, 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 and surrender. All right, so let's move on. We've got Pluto over here in Capricorn. We've got our south node in Virgo. We've got Mars right at the very edge of Gemini. We'll be moving into Cancer very soon. We've got Jupiter here in Taurus, who will also be changing signs, but not until May. Our moon kicks off conjunct Uranus here in Taurus, and Uranus, who also changed signs last month, in Taurus. All right, that is where everybody is. So let's break this down. We're going to start with our sun because our sun is our consciousness, right? And so we still have the sextile over here with Jupiter that came in at the very edge of the month. So it came in on the 30th and is going to be here until April 12th. So remember, this is a lot of optimism, a lot of happiness. This is luck. Like there's a lot of really positive energy here. This is a really great time. If you're starting any new projects, if you're stepping into any new things, Jupiter's got your back right here. Jupiter really does have your back. It is always wanting to grow and expand things. It brings lots of optimism and happiness and joy to the things that you're doing, and it really expanding your horizons. So you might find that there is some education that's wanting to come through, some maybe even some long distance travel wanting to come through. Maybe there's some activities or group activities that you're wanting to step into. This is all really positive energy here as we kick off this month. Now, one of the other transits that's kicking into play on the 6th, which isn't as joyful and happy as this Jupiter transit, is Chiron. So Chiron is going to be conjunct the sun starting here on the 6th until the 18th of April. So it's about till just past mid-month. This is where, the things that we thought we were done with, they're not done. This is where, we're like, but I healed that, Danny. This is where I hear people say, but Danny, I healed that. I've already worked through that. I already know that, right? When I'm doing an Akashic Records reading or I'm doing a healing with somebody, they're like, I've already worked on this, Danny. Like, I've already done this. And I'm like, yeah. And there's a new layer, right? There's a new piece to that onion. And so past wounds, traumas, they are coming back to the surface. The ones that have a new layer or a new piece of information for you as you are growing and evolving. This is also a time when you can overcome some fears, criticisms. You can actually start to showcase your unique talents because we're talking about the sun here. There's a lot of leadership energy. So if maybe there are some things that are from your past around you being a leader or an influencer, inspiring other people. Now, when I look at influencer, I'm not looking at like the person with all the affiliate links who has all the followers. I'm looking at somebody who is actually influencing you in a way that best suits you. And I say it in that way because an influencer can influence you into something that is not so great for you and something that is really great for you. You can be influenced in many, many different ways. And so, with this energy here, if you're somebody who you might even discover that there are some influences that are actually not serving you. And the Guardians are really making this clear to me. They're like, there are probably connections, attachments, things that you are being influenced by right now that you need to cut the cord, my friend. You need to let it go. You need to say bye-bye. Definitely take a listen to Magic Monday for March 31st. That Magic Monday has a really nice, beautiful letting go of the things that you are no longer available for. And this transit would be great to listen to that one under. You also have a really great opportunity here just to embrace those imperfections, embrace the things that you find are, you know, not the best. There are aspects, we all have them, of ourselves that we don't necessarily I don't necessarily like. Let's just be honest. There are aspects of ourselves that we don't necessarily like. One of mine is the control freak in me. I can get very, very controlling of things. And I have worked on this over and over and over, my friends. I've gotten a lot better. Like if you would have known me, I don't know, even 10 years ago, actually, even less than that, probably like 7 years ago to who I am now, completely different person, probably even 5 years ago, as I think about this. I have evolved and changed so much in those years of letting control go. But there is still times where my control freak wants to come out. And that is always a clear sign for me that something is off. Now, let's keep going because we've got lots to talk about. Sun square Mars. So the sun is going to be square Mars coming up here on the 9th. And this one's going to be pretty much all the way through April till the very beginning of May. And I want to tell you about this one, like, because this one's extremely potent, let's just say. So this is where we see competitors, enemies, a very aggressive, powerful energy, causing a lot of ego conflicts. Ego conflicts. I say ego because ego is our amigo. However, the ego can definitely, when it is not balanced, when it is not feeling safe and secure, it can easily go into the ego that we definitely see rising in different ways. And so there's irritability, impatience that tends to happen here, aggressiveness that tends to happen here, recklessness, impulsive behaviors, or things just are flying off the handle. And you might find that you are stepping into some very challenging situations. You might feel like you need to be on defense. I would recommend paying attention to your ego during this time, watching your ego, working with your ego, befriending your ego. If you have tried to stop your ego, if you have tried to banish the ego, that was a thing I heard for so long, was banish the ego. And I was like, yeah, banish the ego. It's not good for us. And then I learned differently and realized that that was actually not working for me. That was working against me. And the minute that I started working with my ego, first off, she was very pissed off at me because I was not agreeing to everything that she said. And she was very frustrated with me. And so it became this conversation of letting her express herself. And once she was able to start expressing herself, it was a breath of fresh air. And I didn't feel the need to be right about everything and to have all the answers and to be able to do all the things. Like it eased my energy so much. And so I would invite you to work with your ego over the next month in particular, especially during this transit where things can get a little more aggressive than they have. I see a lot of aggression out there in the world. I see a lot of pointing fingers in the world. And my friend, I'd invite you to, if you're pointing the finger at somebody or something, I've heard this a million times and I need to. So sorry for those of you on the podcast, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to point my finger at you, right? But look at what's happening. I've got these three fingers that are pointing back at me. Anytime I'm pointing at somebody, I actually am needing to look at something that is being reflected, right, back to me from this thing that I don't like, right? I want you to pay attention to that. This is something that is happening that I'm seeing over and over. And I'm going to caution you, my friend, because I'm here for your greatest and highest good. I'm here to support you on your journey. And if you are needing support in that, if you're wanting to, like, how do I work with the ego, Danny? How do I do this? Then definitely book a session with me. I'd love to talk about the ego with you, help you get connected to your ego, and work through some of those challenges. Now, because we're talking about Mars here, this is an energy that really does need to be channeled because there's a lot of energy. So even if you're like, okay, Danny, I don't want you to bite your tongue. Okay. I don't want you to like, oh, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to express myself, right? We're learning to express ourselves, right? I'm not telling you to bite your tongue. What I'm telling you to do is pay attention to why you want to say the thing that you want to say. Pause, take a minute. Is this constructive? Is this really truly going to help? Or are you just trying to make your point? Are you just trying to overdo the other person, right? The other thing is because it is Mars and it's very action oriented energy, my friend, do some activity to move through that energy. If you're starting to feel that stuff like coming up for you, or something you read, or something you saw, or something you heard, or an interaction that you had, just starts causing frustration and anger within you, I'm going to ask you to go move your body in some way, shape, or form. I have been doing walking videos inside my office here that I absolutely love. They're like 5 minutes, and I just get in there, first off, getting the steps, but also it's helping release energy. Go for a walk outside. Nature is the best healer. Go outside, go for a walk. Go to the gym. If you're somebody who wants to go to the gym, go to the gym. Go lift some weights. Go take a class. My friend, go move your body, express that energy in a constructive way. All right, the next one we're going to dive into comes in here on the 17th, and that is with Pluto. So we're going to see as soon as my chart loads on the 17th here, through the 28th, we're going to see the square over to Pluto. Now, this one can be, again, energetic wise, this is a very powerful, strong, intense energy. So, first off, there's really good energy here to get some work done, to feel really strong and be able to move through things. It's also a really good time because not only is we going to have this transit with Pluto, the sun, as you can see, has already moved into Aries. And we'll talk about the sun moving into Aries next, but this will already be in Aries. Now, this coming together is a absolute best time for you to eliminate bad habits and for you to start something new. This is Aries season. It's the beginning of the zodiacal year of the zodiac. And so it's wanting to start fresh. It's wanting to get things going. Now, I'll say this over and over and over again. Aries is not the sign that's going to keep you doing something. It is the sign that's going to get you started in something. It's a starter energy. So it's going to get you, starting on that new habit, but it's going to take more than just that starting energy to keep with it, which is great because Taurus comes right in after, and it's like it's gonna stay the way. So really help us here, and with that Pluto, even more so. Really, really beautiful. All right, let's talk about the sun moving into Aries, which we're going to see take place here on the 13th, and it's going to be later in the day. So the first half of our day will be in Pisces, and then the last half of our day will be in Aries. And so our evening, that's going to shift. So what happens when the sun moves into Aries? Well, first off, the sun is our consciousness. It's our right. It's our awareness. It's what is present within our mind. Now, if we talk about Aries, we're talking about, first off, it's the first zodiac sign. It's the beginning of the zodiacal year. It rules over the first house, which is the house of self. It is a fire sign. It's Mars, ruled by Mars, and it is a cardinal energy. So this is very much about the self. This is very much about your impulses, your actions, your initiations, the things that you are initiating into, the things that you are starting. This is very much Aries is the baby of the zodiac. And so when we look at babies, what do babies want to do? They want all of their needs met. They don't care, mom, that you haven't slept 8 hours. They want their food now, right? They don't care that you don't want them to go outside that door. They want to go outside, right? It's whatever their desires, their needs are. And so it is very much that energy of like, I need this thing, I want this thing, I need to go get it. I need to get it now. It is not it is not a delayed gratification sign. It is an instant gratification sign. It wants it now. So this is where we have lots of energy. We get to do lots of things. We want to do lots of things, and we want it our way, and we want it now. This is a really great time, as I said, to start things, to get things moving, to get things going. So if there's anything that you're wanting to initiate, to start, to begin, this is where I would say that. If there's any challenges you want to do, this is where I would say, like, this is a good time to do it, because you'll have that energy to start it, to get it going, to get it off the ground. If there's a project that you've kind of put on the back burner, this is your time to get it moving. Now, to be a little bit more specific, we would want to look at your chart and see where your Aries energy is, because it's going to be different if your Aries energy is in your fourth house versus your seventh house versus your ninth house versus your 12th house. That energy is going to be very, very different, and your focus is going to be very, very different. Now, I can say that if you have a moon in Aries, there's a lot of emotional energy that is going to be coming through in you wanting the things that you want to take action on, the things that you desire on. There'll be this emotional connection that is coming through, and your rising signs, you are going to want to move forward and do the things. And you want everybody to move forward too. Let's just say that. All right, let's talk about our moon, because our moon is going to be making its full moon and new moon. And we actually have what's a super moon happening on the 12th, on that full moon, which we're still going to be here in Pisces, at the very edge of Pisces. So that is going to be in Virgo. And this is a super moon, which just simply means that the moon is closer to Earth. And so it appears bigger in the sky. And so if you look at the Earth's rotation, there are parts of that rotation where it is closer to the Earth and parts where it is further away from the Earth. And because of this, we have the supermoons that come in when it's in that rotation that is closest to the Earth. When it's closer, what do you think's going to happen? And I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. What do you think happens when we have a supermoon and the moon is closer to the Earth? We're probably going to feel it more. I tell you that to say that when you hear supermoon, what I want you to think about is that this is probably going to be more intense than other moons, okay? More intense than other moons. Not to say that we just entered eclipse season last month, and here we are with our supermoon. So we've got a couple of things happening here with this particular full moon in Virgo that takes place on the 12th at 7:22 p.m. And you'll see we've got opposition to Chiron. And Chiron is conjunct that sun we talked about earlier. We've got a trine over here to Jupiter, and we've got a square over here to Mars. And Mars is in Cancer. So what does all of that mean? Well, this is bringing some practicality. This is bringing some tension. This is bringing some healing, and this is bringing some growth. So because we're talking about Virgo here, our Virgo moons are detail oriented, they're organized, they're looking on being better, right? And so with the moon squaring Mars, there's a bit of a sense of frustration or impatience about why things aren't perfect, why I haven't achieved the thing, why it's not functioning properly. The trine to Jupiter, though, is like, this is an opportunity for us to grow. This is an opportunity for us to expand. This is potential for us to move through some things that are not functioning in our day-to-day routine or within our health or within the way in which we are of service to others. One of the things that I told one of my clients as we were talking about the last new moon we just had, and it was in Pisces, which happens to be in her sixth house, rules over her sixth house. And so all of these planets right now in her sixth house are actually causing her to really be aware of the ways in which she is showing up as in service to others. There's a lot of focus on her health. There's a lot of focus on she's actually having a surgery right this month, and it's because she is working through a lot of this, like, okay, I'm done, right, with a lot of these health issues. I'm done with these ways in which I have given my energy to, right? It's very, very interesting, like depending on how this energy is showing up for you in your life. The other thing is that, because I said the opposition here with Chiron and that being the potential for healing, that being the the way in which the guardians are showing this is in self-criticism and how we might feel inadequate or not able to show up in that influencer way, in that leader way, and really being able to step into that. Now, keep in mind, full moons are a time for celebration. So, celebrating how far you have come, my friend, because I know you have been doing the work and you have come so far. And also to say, okay, what's the next thing? What's my next marker? What's the next step for me? And being able to release anything that is blocking you from that. Now, some of the questions that I would invite you to explore would be around, in what ways are you overly criticizing yourself? Where can you show yourself some more compassion? What skill or knowledge is going to impact you in a way that is going to support your personal or even your professional growth? And I would also say, how can you turn any of the weaknesses that you're perceiving? How could they actually be strengths? How could they actually be a superpower that you have? Now, let's talk about the new moon, which will be on the 27th at 2:31 p.m. And these times are all Central Time, my friend, because I am Central Time. All right, so this new moon in Aries, again, beginning of the year, beginning of the zodiacal year, that is. But Aries being so initiative and so powerful, this is a very, because we've got this aspect over here, we've got a square to Mars and we've got a square to Pluto. So let's talk about what this is, because this is a really good opportunity for some new beginnings to take place, especially around asserting yourself and taking action on something. So let's dive in. This new moon square Pluto is bringing more depth, more intensity, a way for us to unearth maybe power struggles, maybe where we've struggled with our power. Maybe have you ever felt, and I talk to a lot of healers and coaches, so I've heard this many times, that you're afraid of your own power. You're afraid of your own power. This right here is an opportunity for you to let go of that or allow yourself to open up to that, to clear away what is stopping you from being able to stand fully in your power and to not be afraid of what that's going to create, because it's going to create some waves, right? The second one, this moon over here, this new moon over here to Mars also making a square. This is bringing more assertiveness. This is also bringing in motivation. This can bring in some frustrations or irritability around the things that are like, why am I still doing this? Why am I still holding back? Why am I still not fully expressing myself? Like this right here, this transit, this particular new moon, I feel like it's the new beginning of you stepping into your power, you stepping into your leadership, you stepping into your way of being assertive and leading and in the depth and in the intensity that feels right for you. Just because somebody leads this way doesn't mean you have to lead that way. All right, so some things that I would invite you to explore with this new moon is going to be how can you channel those intense emotions into positive construction actions, like how can you step into more constructive action with these. What are maybe some deep-seated patterns or beliefs that you're ready to transform as it relates to stepping into your authority, stepping into your power? All right, let's go on to Mercury. Moving ahead here. Now, there's quite a few in Mercury that really took place last month that are kind of coming to an end here. And there's a couple of new ones that I do want to talk about. So, just as a reminder, Mercury has been in retrograde. Look at this. Nothing. Mercury is not in transit next to anything right here on this the 27th. Telling you, like, after the 25th, Mercury is going to be pretty clear and it will be moving forward. So a lot of communication happening for sure. But let's go back to Mercury being retrograde. And Mercury is going to be retrograde until the 6th of April. So the first full week of April, Mercury will get out of its retrograde. Venus will get out of its retrograde, and we will be actually, Venus comes the following week, but we will be in that forward motion. Remember, though, we always have the shadow periods following any retrograde, and that shadow period can last quite a while, can usually last 2 to 3 weeks. And so there's still time for wonkiness. There's still time for things to be settling. It's the time where you start to now move forward with whatever has come up, and you've started to realize some things because that's what Mercury retrogrades are for. And you're ready to start moving forward. You're ready to start taking those next steps, and you might hit some bumps along the way, revisiting some things. But Mercury is definitely moving forward, which is beautiful, which I love. And remember, Mercury is going to be in Pisces all the way till the 6th of May. So even though we are moving forward, it's not going to move out of Pisces till the beginning of May. So we'll be right here in Pisces. So things will be a little confusing, not quite clear, that dreamy kind of state. If you're like, oh, why can't I remember the thing? This is Mercury and Pisces. It seems to like leave you. The best thing to do during these times is that creative energy, the daydreaming, the visualizing, like getting into that dream state, other realms. Really good time to do that. Just make sure you're grounded, my friend. All right, so let's talk about the two that are coming in. And these, first off, the first one's going to come in on the 11th of April. And that is where it's going to be making a sextile to Pluto. There we go. Right here, you'll see that coming in. It does come in on the 11th, just later in the day. This is a lot of thinking about the future. This is where we're starting to have a broader outlook on things. This is where we take it up into that eagle eye kind of viewpoint. And so this is a really good time during this period here from the 11th to the 25th to just start thinking about how you're going to step into this next thing, planning some things out, visualizing some things out. Maybe there's a vacation or an event or a thing that you're wanting to do. There's a little bit more of diplomacy here, tact in communication and in dealings that we're going to see coming in here. But keep in mind, we still have that very, very intense energy over there with Mars. Now, the last one came in here on the 31st of March, but will carry through till the 25th of April. And that is Mercury with excuse me, Mars. So we've got this connection. It's a trine over here to Mars. So let me tell you a little bit about that. Now, this is where we have more we should have more mental acuity. Thinking should be much better. We should be able to make decisions, at least better decisions. Although I want you to keep in mind that it's not going to come in the way that it normally comes in. This is where we're having to rely on our intuition. We're having to rely on those dreams or those insights. You know, that hazy wake state, which is actually a form of hypnosis where we're in that transition from sleep to consciousness or from consciousness to sleep. And you get like those ideas and you're like, oh, that's brilliant, right? I write the best emails, I write the best content when I am in that state. And then I don't remember it because I wake up. But in that is like such a beautiful state. And so that's kind of like where you might get some ideas. So normally where you're like, oh, I'm on top of it. I can think of it. I got it. This is where I'm going to ask you to rely on your intuition, rely on your dreamy, hazy wake state to give you that clarity that you're actually looking for. Because with that Mercury being in Neptune, it's just really clouding things right now. And so if you're like, I don't want to make a decision because I'm not quite sure about something, I would wait. I would wait, my friend. I would wait if you think like, I just really want to be clear about this, then I would wait until after Mercury moves out of Neptune and moves into, I'm sorry, out of Neptune, out of Pisces and moves into Aries. Okay. Although I will keep in mind, it's not always grass is greener on the other side, because when you move into Aries, you make quick decisions without thinking things all the way through. So, my friend, I tell you that to just give you that a little bit of advice there. All right, let's look at Mars. Mars is our planet of motivation, of drive, of willpower. So Mars is going to be leaving Gemini here and is going to move into Cancer on the 3rd and will be in Cancer all the way through June 6th. So let's talk about that, because that's where our drive and motivation is going to be. Now, Cancer rules over our home, our family, our roots, our traditions. This is that home life. This is the mothering, the nurturing energy. Mars does not like this, my friend. Mars is like, it's more aggressive, and it's not nurturing, it's more aggressive. And so there's a lot of emotion that is coming here. Again, you pair this on top of all the things that I already talked about with Mars. This is a lot of focus on emotions, on relationships, on home life, especially your relationships with women. There may be some challenges that come into play, especially with women that you might encounter, whether that's your mom, your sister, your aunt, your cousins, your nieces. There's just your daughters. There's this relationship with women that might be a little bit more challenging than other. Now, Mars in Cancer, though, is a time for us to pay attention to our emotions, to allow ourselves to feel rather than pushing them away, suppressing them, not dealing with them. Mars is like, let's do it. Let's do it. And so that could come in a number of ways. You could be on the end of somebody having an emotional reaction to something, and it might be bringing up a whole lot within you. Or you might be the one that is having an emotional situation and you're not sure, right? It gets the best of you. It happens to us all, even me. I'm not immune to this. I definitely have my moments where I'm like, oh, I just lost it. I just lost it. Even when I have the tools, even when I do the things, there's things that just happen, my friend. And so I want you to remember that these things are happening, that they're going to happen, and that's okay. Tune back into your tools. If you have that outburst and you're like, dang it, I really wish that wouldn't have happened, or I really wish I wouldn't have done that. Like, that's okay. Like, I'm going to ask you to forgive yourself. I'm going to ask you to let that go. And I'm going to ask you to get whatever lessons were in there for you? Where had you been suppressing the emotion? Because we don't just have emotional outbursts to have emotional outbursts. We have them because we haven't been allowed, or we haven't allowed ourselves to express them, or the deep desire that we need is not being met and is not in our consciousness. And so that is what usually happens when somebody says something, or they're not agreeing with you, or they're not doing their thing. There is some unneed met within you, which causes you to get into that trigger state, my friend. Those are like, allow those things to be your teachers. Allow those things to be your teachers. Strengthening relationships is something that this season will be really good to do. Connection, intimacy as well. Your home, good time to shake things up in your home, move things around, shift your furniture. That spring cleaning is always a really good time with Mars here. We're going to be feel more motivated. Maybe you want to go out and plant those flowers, clear out the garden, do some work around the house. Communication. This is could probably be challenging, especially with Mercury being in Pisces and Mars here in Cancer. It might, we might be a little bit more sensitive. And so if we're more sensitive than normal, we could easily just trip off on something, right? Passive aggressiveness, though, can be very big during this time. So I want you to be mindful of that, where you actually are confronting what you're upset about instead of like being passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is never, I'm a passive aggressive person. I know it. I've worked on it. I continue to work on it, but there are times where I get a little petty and I'm like, oh, Danny, what is it that you're wanting right now? Because that's always what it is. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things, a couple of transits here with Mars that I do want to talk about, and that's going to be the square over here to Neptune, and that's going to take place on the 2nd. There we go, and it's going to go through the 4th or the 5th of June. Let me look at my notes. The 4th of June. So Mars here, again, in Cancer, there's a lot of emotion. Now with Neptune having this square over to Neptune, which, there we go, is causing, excuse me, a little bit more of a weaker energy. It is also, there's a little bit more paranoia here, a little bit more suspicion. Jealousy could come up here. There, like, be very on the up and up, very much on the up and up, especially with Mercury in Pisces and Mars here making this connection with Neptune. What can happen is if you don't give all the details, or like you leave something out, or that's a little white lie, it could come to bite you in the butt. It could come to bite you in the butt. Avoid, I avoid already, and I'm sure you do too, but sometimes we get caught up in things like gossip, deceit, manipulation. It happens, right? It's something that, whether we're on the receiving end of it or we've initiated it, we have to be mindful of these things and it being around us. And so, what are you, that's when it's a time for you to look at, like, well, what am I available for and what am I not? Is this serving me or is this not? And if the conversation is gossipy and you're like, yeah, I'm not available for that anymore, then that's something for you to figure out. Like, is this a space I want to be in? Are these people that I want to be around? Or is there a way in which you can shift to that conversation? That's generally what I do, but you, my friend, you do as you do. I told a friend of mine the other day and she was like, how's it going? And I was like, I'm staying in my lane. That's basically what it is. And I feel like this transit is very similar to that. It's like, mind your business, do your thing. And, sometimes we can get distracted by all the things that are happening in all the way that people are reacting to them. Right. And sometimes it's like, you need to like tunnel vision and just be in your lane and focus on your lane. All right, let's talk about the last one that I want to talk about here, which is Venus. So, Venus, our lovely planet of love, beauty, art, is going to be retrograde until the 12th, and then she will be moving forward. So, we'll see her right here, starting to move forward. And that means there's going to be a forward movement in love, beauty, arts, relationships, and so money too, because Venus does rule over money. So we'll see some forward movement with that. There's a couple of things I do want to talk about, and one of them in particular is Venus has been retrograde and has been conjunct Saturn. And when Venus and Saturn are conjunct, there is, with relationships, there's a lot more like groundedness in it, long term commitment, deeper commitment in relationships. And whether this is also your intimate relationship or business partnerships, joint ventures, collaborations, like there's like more of a commitment, like, oh, yes, this is what we're committing to. Now, when Venus goes direct, these are also still going to be conjunct. Now we're ready to move forward with these things. We've, maybe done some evaluation and there's some things that we've wanted to shift in the way that we're showing up in these relationships, or things that were not serving us in these relationships. And now it's time to move forward with that. So whether it was you're like, these relationships, they're not working for me anymore. And so now it's time for you to move forward with that decision. Or maybe it's like, I'm not going to show up in these ways anymore around these people, or I'm not going to engage in this way, in this collaboration any longer. And so now it's time to move forward with that. And so we're going to see that conjunction with Saturn all the way through the month till May 7th. So there's going to be a lot of that, like committing to things, deepening things, and letting go of things. So some shifts in relationships definitely over the next month or so. And then the last one I want to talk about is Venus sextile Pluto, which comes in right here at the very, very edge of the month on the 26th. We will see this transit through the middle of May. And so Venus with Pluto is just deepening our love, deepening the intensity level of our love and the way that we're showing up with love. And when I say that, I'm not talking about just intimate relationships. I'm talking about love of self as well. So there is a bit of, some relationships evolving, particularly those relationships that are existing, them becoming more deeper, maybe more spiritual, more profound than they have in the past. The flip side of this is there could also be some challenge, new relationships that are more of a whirlwind, that are like, they're here to shake things up, to cause you to make some change of some sort. There's also secret romances, affairs that can actually come up during this time, or can be uncovered, like they're being revealed. So I wanted to make sure y'all are aware of that as well. Then, as always, the feeling of coming obsessed with something, in particular, because we're talking about Venus, you can definitely be obsessed about a particular relationship. All right, my friends, that is what I have for you for the month of April. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of aggression. There's a lot of power struggles coming through. And so, my friend, I'm going to invite you to just take a deep breath, to move through it slowly, to keep yourself grounded, move into. This is why we have Pisces season here, to help us connect back. If we've been astray, we come back to our spiritual practices. We come back to nature. Spring is sprung. Go out, go for a hike, go sit in nature, go do your meditation, go journal, go work if you can, outdoors, and connect with nature. Stay as grounded as you possibly can, because this month can get a little intense. And my friend, if you're needing guidance and support, I would love to apply to be your mentor on this journey. You can book a call. There's a link down in the show notes and the description to apply to see if we're a good fit to work together. If anything, we'll have a conversation and I'll let you know about how I can support you and see if indeed we are a fit. All right, my friend, enjoy your month. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful month. And until next time, remember to keep shining your unique light.